Good morning from Memphis. It is approximately 5 minutes to 3 on the early morning of August 26th, 2022, and I am looking at Mars and Aldebaran. I was out here contemplating. I wasn't planning on making another video tonight, but tonight's night sky is even prettier than last night's because it's slightly clearer. And what really caught my eye was Mars approaching the fall constellation Taurus the Bull. So what we have here in the camera is Mars to the upper right, and just in the center of the screen is Aldebaran, which is the reddish star in Taurus the Bull. It marks the bullseye on Taurus the Bull. It's difficult for the camera to pick it up, but above and to the slightly to the left of Mars is the Pleiades. It may be too dim. I'm going to zoom out briefly and then zoom back in and see if we can bring out Pleiades. Yeah, it's probably too dim, but let's try. Yeah, it's probably just slightly too dim to see with this camera, but nevertheless the fall constellations are coming into view. It's really pretty out here. Of course there's other planets up as well, but I wanted to focus on what I'm seeing here in the constellation Taurus the Bull. We've got Aldebaran, which is almost the same color as Mars. Both are reddish orange. And as Mars moves eastward in its orbit, it's going to approach ever closer to Aldebaran, and they'll make a really cool pair of bright reddish orangish colored objects in the night sky as they get closer to one another. So that's going to be really cool. Something to watch over the next few weeks. Also, the fall constellations will be coming up earlier and earlier with each passing night. Let's see what other stars. If I go over here to the north, you can see Capella. It's right above that really bright street light. But nevertheless, Capella is one of the brightest stars in the northern hemisphere. It's more bluish white than reddish. But nevertheless, it's almost circumpolar. I'm not entirely sure if it's circumpolar, but actually I'm almost certain it is. If it's not circumpolar, it's very close to it. Circumpolar means it never sets. It's always above the horizon as viewed from the northern hemisphere. Most of the northern hemisphere, at least this part of the northern hemisphere. If we were on the equator, the North Star would be right on the horizon all year round. But here at our latitude, roughly 40 degrees north, there are several circumpolar constellations that are quite visible. And also right above here is the constellation Cassiopeia. I don't know if it's bright enough to bring in with the camera. I'll zoom in a little bit and we might be able to see a couple of the stars of Cassiopeia, but they're pretty dim. They're just not quite bright enough to see with this cell phone camera. But what we can see is still pretty cool. There's Mars, Aldebaran, and Capella in the constellation Auriga, the charioteer. Again, Cassiopeia is also circumpolar. It would never set. It never sets here in the northern hemisphere, at least at our latitude. There's Mars, who moves eastward among the stars pretty rapidly. A few weeks ago it was close to Jupiter. But both the Earth and Mars race eastward pretty quickly around the Sun. Mars moves a little bit more slowly than we do, but it moves pretty quickly among the stars. Of course, Mars is 1/10 the mass of Earth, 1/2 its diameter roughly, has 2 moons, which orbit much closer to the planet and are much smaller than our moon, but nevertheless are quite visible from the surface of Mars, and that would be really cool to have 2 moons in the sky. But I'm happy with the one we've got, and I've talked in previous videos about what that would mean if we had 2 moons. The gravitational effect of the 2 moons would mess up the orbits of our satellites, among other things. It just could never work. Or it would, if it would work, it would be a bit of a challenge. Again, this is the early morning hours of August 26th, 2022 in Memphis. I thank you for watching.